reasons why something will work,
not why it won't.
When others ask why bother, a real agent of change's motto is,
if it is a benefit to all, including myself, then I must do it.
we serve.
instead of sell.
We collaborate versus compete.
We understand that giving and receiving are simultaneous.
And we know the difference between a transaction and a transformation.
A real agent of change is influential and uses that super power for good.
We know that our actions, or lack thereof, have an impact on our family,
Our community, our marketplace, and the world.
We do not take this for granted.
We inspire.
We are inspired.
we are inspired.
We are an inspiration for everyone we meet.
A real agent of change knows we can double profitability for ourselves and all those with whom we partner.
We are passionate, purposeful, and playful.
Pragmatic, present, and positioned as a partner who promotes
Promotes the benefits of charitable real estate.
Knowing their causes, companies, and communities.
Every damn body deserves to win.
What's happening, Cami?
Hey, good to have you here, Mr. Whiskey.
How you doing today?
Maybe you should change that to Mr. Happily Sober now.
Yeah, right? I know.
Not spicy enough for him.
Well, you keep what's dangerous close to you, and it somehow,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How you guys been?
You need a spicy moniker anyway, Wade.
Yeah, true. How you guys been?
We are fabulous. Alan, are you ready to get started?
Yes, ma'am. Guys, welcome to Charitable Gifting of Real Estate Masterclass. This is the most comprehensive, informative
This meeting is being recorded.
product that we have as far as information transfer. We want you to really fully understand what you're going to hear today. You're going to hear a lot of detail that you wouldn't normally hear in our 101, and we want to help you understand how you can position this, whether you're a real estate agent, a financial planner, a nonprofit, a title company. We have a lot of people coming from all different directions of the world. Some people like myself who saw this and aren't even involved in real estate in any way, just realize that there's such a value in what this is about, and want to be a part of great change in what we're doing. My name is Alan Biles. I'm the vice president of the Real Agents of Change, and in full disclosure, I'm also the fiance to our president, Cami C. Baker. We met last year in December, and just in a very short time, I was able to learn so much about her passion and about her commitment to something I'd never heard of before, which was donating real estate to nonprofits. And just a little bit more about myself. I'm a veteran, and I was in the first Gulf War in 89, 90, 91. And when I got out, I was blessed to have not had any experience in actual combat. I wasn't exposed to any burn pits or any type of chemicals that were present in other soldiers' experience. And they came home with lots of issues. And then through my early 20s and 30s, I was really distant from my veteran community. I didn't really look back. I just kept going forward with my life and really didn't even consider what veterans were going through, because I had never really experienced it myself, and I wasn't involved in the veteran community. But over the last few years, several years really now, seeing what's going on through the Afghanistan conflict and everything that's culminated from that, I've been more and more concerned and involved, and wanted to make a difference in these men and women's lives that are coming back broken and not always physically. So when Cami exposed to me this opportunity you're going to learn about today, it really pointed me in a direction to be able to give back and to bring great change to the communities that I actually are deeply involved with. I'm also a Christian, so of course Christian ministries are going to be near and dear to my heart. I have a rescue dog, so any organizations that support rescue animals or care and treatment of animals. They're gonna get my passion as well. But we're here to support any and all nonprofits. Any nonprofit that exists is eligible to be able to take massive increases of funding on what we're doing. And just learning about Cami recently, just in the last week, she went through some of her Google documents and her old files and showed me the years of experience she's had working with nonprofits. And just to understand her heart, understand her nature, guys, I'm her biggest fan, number one. I've never been married and I've never had children, and I'll be 53 next month. So to commit my life to this woman and to her cause is such a big deal to me. I only share that with you because it's something I don't tread into lightly. And without really any more information, I just want to just pass it right back to Cami and let her take it over from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan, for bringing your heart to the table. My mind and my strategy is business and realtor and financial advisor and how to make money, making a difference. And when Alan came to the table, it was clear that he would be our liaison to the nonprofits because of his heart. So thank you for that. Friends, you're going to be hearing my story a little bit further along in the presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sharing screen. I want you to know we are on record. People who are part of the specialist package and the champion package get updated recordings when we change the presentation a bit. So you'll be getting those recordings moving forward. So I'm just going to jump right in and share the screen and get rid of this. Get rid of that. Come over here. Been messing around while we were getting ready. Okay. Charitable real estate masterclass. Here we go. Let's really get down and dirty with some detail here so that you know exactly how you can be a part of the solution too, if you so choose to be. Now, we call this real estate for real change. We call this legacy listings because every donation of real estate, in order to give the cash to the nonprofit world, it has to be listed by a real estate agent and liquidated. They are legacy listings because they leave legacy for the nonprofit, for the donors who want to donate, and for the real estate agents and all the other professionals who are part of our tribe. Now, I want you to really take this warning to heart because you cannot unlearn what you're getting ready to learn. This is either a blessing or a curse. When you learn that all the ways we've been fundraising, yours truly included, all the golf tournaments and car shows and bake sales and galas and GoFundMe accounts and raffle tickets. Friends, we've been doing that because that's all we knew to do. We are passionate. We want to help our nonprofit friends. And that's why we put our time and talent and treasure into those things. But the proceeds from gifts of real estate will always be a better way to fund nonprofits, period. And you're going to learn that beyond a shadow of doubt in the next couple of hours. And I'm telling you right now, this warning is so true. If you don't want to take action, if you're not willing to be the beacon of hope, if you won't raise your hand and raise your voice when you're sitting in those fundraising committees, hearing people talk about how the fundraiser's getting canceled, they're not raising enough money, the veterans, the puppies, the kids, the universities, the churches are suffering. If you're not willing to stand up and say something, frankly, you shouldn't be here because it's going to be hard to live with this information if you don't do something about it. But the fact is you're here. So I'm going to guess that you're ready to leverage real estate for real change. Now, these are just some examples of what we're doing to help spread the word. April is List a Legacy Listing Month. November is a big month in this country. We'll be doing another campaign coming up in November. This book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, talks about the 5 keys to revolutionize how charities and us, the champions, are funding causes, careers and companies, and communities. So let me just go through those 5 keys with you really quick. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna learn today, and then I'm gonna teach it to you, and I'm gonna answer any questions that you have. So key number 1, congratulations. You just turned it. You're here. Whether you're watching it on recording and you're live with us right now, you are learning what charitable gifting of real estate is. So the first key has been turned. Now, key number 2 is lead generation, because knowing what this is doesn't do anyone any good if we're not talking to people. And you know what the beauty of this is? We do not convince, we do not sell, we do not handle objections. And as a lifelong salesperson myself, I am so grateful. All we do is educate and share with people what their options are. Lead generation is how we share those options. Now, key number 3 is list and liquidate. Remember, these are legacy listings, real estate listings. It's a good old-fashioned listing, just like any listing any real estate agent has ever taken. But this time, not only are they guaranteed a full commission that they don't have to negotiate or give 10% to the nonprofit and all that stuff, this time, when they liquidate that listing, the proceeds go to the nonprofit world. Hallelujah. Key number 4 is leverage. I think I'm going to have my name legally changed to Cami CE Leverage Baker. Love, love, love. How do you leverage? How do you partner and promote with all the thousands of nonprofits in the marketplace and the businesses? We get into that in the book. And leave legacy, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Legacy is a big word right now, and people talk about leaving legacy. What if we can leave our legacy right now? We don't have to die, we don't have to croak to leave legacy. We, you, me, all of us in the tribe of the real agents of change, the Rock, we are the legacy leavers. Because years from now, people will look back and they will say, these are the people that started to shift this paradigm. Friends, this image is what it looks like to be a charitable real estate champion. You do not have to be a realtor. You do not even have to be a nonprofit to spread the word, to educate and inform people. But the beautiful tall woman on the left is Hallie. She is with The Haven in Sarasota. They are in the book. They hosted our book launch. Jessica Peterson in the middle is our biggest advocate. She just loves what we're doing. And I'm taking a knee, grinning from ear to ear, knowing that this photo was going in the newspaper, was going in the book, was going to be seen by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. And that's what we want to help you to do today if you so choose. So let me tell you what's going on. We've got 3 main sections that we're going to go through, and then a 4th and 5th. So the first section, what is donations of real estate? What are the first 2? Friends, there are 3 ways that a donor can help a nonprofit through real estate. Section 1, we're going to go through the first 2, which are 2 that you've heard of, but then we're leading up to section 2, where we'll get into the 3rd way. The win-win-win way, the way that we do this so that it is risk-free for everyone and no money out of pocket for the nonprofits. So we'll get into that. Section 3, got some details, documents, do's and don'ts. We'll get into an example of a traditional sale versus a donation and the massive tax benefits and charitable leveraging that happens with that. Section 4, we're going to show you the difference. Are you a specialist or are you a champion? You know, are you ready to step into doing something about it? Remember, you read the warning, so please, if you're still here, we want to invite you to actually take action. And section number 5, back to that key number 2, lead generation. Now that you know what this is, who do you talk to? What do you say? How do you say it? So that's what we're going through today. Now, why are you here? You are here to be a charitable real estate specialist. We are the only organization in this country and in the world who has created a certification program for that. This strengthens the relationships that you have, whether you're a nonprofit who is giving your donors a smarter way to give and being competitive in your own marketplace, or whether you are a real estate agent with 500 or 5,000 past clients and friends on Facebook, etc. Let's step up and strengthen those relationships. Let's gain access to high net worth people with multiple properties all over the country. Friends, we really open our mind. This isn't about just trying to get a piece of real estate in your backyard donated. Real estate from anywhere in the country, and in some cases anywhere in the world, can be donated and liquidated to fund your nonprofit. You're going to raise your profile. Friends, this is about not just being a real estate agent or a realtor or even just a fundraiser. This is about stepping into being an advisor, being part of the advisory community, advising people who own real estate what their options are. Realtors earn that full commission. Financial advisors, we've got a section about them too. If you're not a financial advisor, you really want to pay attention to why this benefits them, because they can help you to liquidate millions of dollars of real estate and they don't even know it. We are helping all of these people I'm talking about to know what their options are and how they can build their own business. So more introductions, more commissions, more referrals, all that fun stuff. That's why you're here. So here's what you're going to learn today. Number one, donations of real estate are happening. This isn't something that we think it might be a good idea, or let's just talk about it and see how it goes, or let's try to figure out how to make it happen. It's happening. $9 billion last year. There are 3 ways a donor can help a nonprofit with real estate. The first 2 you'll recognize. The third one you don't know about, but you will today. Why have you never heard of donations of real estate before? We're going to share that with you too. Well, maybe you've heard of them, the first 2 ways, but you haven't heard this last way, and that's what we're excited about. Why donors are trying to give real estate away, who they are, and where you find them. When people ask, people really give real estate away? Who would do that? Friends, my canned response to that is the people that you may want to know. Because, first of all, they're heart-centered, and they're generous, and they're giving and loving. Second of all, they've got property that can fund your nonprofit. Third of all, they have multiple properties all over the country. Friends, thank you for being here. How you can be the hero your community needs and make money making a difference. Okay, so when we say that, we all hear that. It's almost a cliche. It's a tagline, make money making a difference. But you know what we love about this? No one here can make any money unless we're making a difference. In other words, fundraisers can get paid $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year, whether they bring money in or not. The beauty of what we're doing, the realtor doesn't get paid unless the nonprofit got funded. The nonprofit doesn't get paid unless the real estate agent got a full commission, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't get paid unless we help you get funded. Now, this is the biggest, baddest, boldest, badassest social responsibility campaign ever created. We've all heard the term corporate social responsibility. We've all seen Dawn cleaning the little duckies with their soap, getting the oil off the little duckies, Coca-Cola saving the polar bear, Star-Kissed Tuna saving the dolphins. All these things they do because, sure, maybe they're good people, but they really do it because it helps to build their businesses. And we're going to talk about that. So if you're going to have questions, we want you to ask your questions. Please feel free to put them in the chat. You can write them down, put them in the chat box. I promised you probably about 92% of any questions will be answered in this presentation. We've been doing it for, as a matter of fact, this month is our 2-year anniversary of doing this class. I just realized we started in September 2020. So 2 years, we pretty much know what you're going to ask. It's in the presentation, but we do want you to feel like you can engage. As a matter of fact, before I get into section 1, I want to suggest that you put in the chat your name, your phone number, your email, where you are, and what brings you here. If you're a nonprofit, take the advantage of being in a room with other people who want to fund you. If you're a realtor, take advantage of being here with people who want to do business with those that are socially responsible. Friends, step up, step out, step into the light. Put your information out there, and my assistant, Grace, will be putting a document in for you to put your name, your cell phone, your email. We're going to be talking about lots of different documents today. And if you're not on that list, you may or may not receive those documents, and you're going to want them. So make sure that you have put your name on that list. Now, in between each section, we will have a bio break. So just to tell you how it's going to lay out, we'll go for about 45 minutes. I will come and get any questions answered. Instead of playing videos of case studies in between each section today, which can be another 5 to 10 minutes in between, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you where you can go watch 10 case studies: land, residential, commercial, who donated it, why they donated it, how much money went to the nonprofit world. So I'll just be giving you access to that. So if you can hang with us for 45 minutes, we'll have a break. All right. Section 1. Let's really understand the concept of what we're doing here, the collaborators, who's donating, real estate, why, etc. Now, remember how I told you there are 3 ways that a donor can help nonprofits from the proceeds of real estate. Now, notice there's language there. I didn't say 3 ways a donor can donate real estate. It's how they can help nonprofits with the gift of real estate, because this first way, there is no donation of the real estate. The donor, the property owner, the donors that are on your donor list, the friends in your Facebook group, on your email list, the neighbors in your neighborhood, average people are donating or wanting to donate from real estate. So, property owner sells the property and gives the proceeds to the nonprofit that they love. This is the worst way. It is very common for a nonprofit to say to a donor when they reach out and say, hey, I'd like to donate my house to you. Nonprofit says, go sell it and give us the proceeds. If you're ever advised that as a property owner, you need to reach out to us, because the nonprofit is going to get the least amount of money. The donor is going to get the least amount of tax benefits. They pay the capital gains tax. It is just the most inefficient, least beneficial for all. And we're going to show you further in the presentation the difference between a traditional sale, after the taxes are paid and the proceeds are given to the nonprofit world, versus a donation. And you will see clearly in black and white in the numbers why this is the worst way. Okay? That's way number 1. Now, the second way is if the property owner donated the property directly to the nonprofit. Now, here's the problem with that. In order for the property that is being donated to be of tax benefit to the donor, it has to exchange hands with the 501c3, meaning properties can't exchange hands if there's liens. So mortgages have to be paid off. What if the donor has $1 million condo and they love your nonprofit, but they don't love you that much? They'd like to get their $300,000 they paid for it 10 years ago. They call you up and they say, hey, Wade, I got this $1 million condo. I paid $300,000 for it 10 years ago. If you'll give me $300,000, you can keep that $700,000 in equity. Problem is, he's got to come up with that $300,000. It is just not feasible. It is risky. It is scary. And ultimately, 99.9% of nonprofits will not do it. It is the hardest way. Because if a nonprofit does try to go down this path and they take months of board meetings and try to figure out who's taking title, who's going to pay the insurance, where are we going to come up with that $300,000? Bottom line is the donor is going to get bored and irritated with that whole process. It's too complicated and hard. And the nonprofits won't do it anyway. So that's the second way. So stay tuned for the third way. So now we're going to learn why real estate owners are wanting, trying, and searching for ways to donate real estate. We're going to learn the reasons why 99.9%, not even kidding, of nonprofits turn down real estate, and how charitable real estate specialists and champions are able to help all of them to get funded. So let me just give you the foundation of this information. What is a donation of real estate? So a couple of slides just to get our foundation set. Here's the connection between philanthropy, real estate, and the IRS tax code. This is how it all got started when we tell you it's been happening since 1917. It's been around for 100 years. So first of all, philanthropy, some people will say to me, well, I'm not Bill Gates, I'm no philanthropist. Friends, if you have a love of mankind and humanity, and you give of your time, talent, and treasure, you're a philanthropist. And let me just say, if you've created a nonprofit, you've got the time and the talent to do the boots on the ground work. There are lots of people with no time and no talent, but they've got treasure. And some of their treasure is cash, 3%, and some of their treasure is real estate, 43%. 501c3 is an IRS designation for qualified organizations that provide goods and services for the public good. So when we say that the donor needs to donate that real estate to a 501c3, that is an actual IRS designation. And if the organization or entity doesn't have that designation, then there is no tax deduction, which is why we have a 501c3 that the donor donates to. You'll be learning about that. Tax deduction, the tax deduction in general was created in 1970. All kinds, any kind, cash, stock, anything that you're donating. So this 1917 law incentivized all taxpayers to be able to get a break on taxes by giving back to the causes that they care about. Charitable gifting of real estate specifically. A charitable gift of real estate to a qualified 501c3 that provides the nonprofit, the 501c3, with an asset that it can sell to fund its programs. See, now we're getting into why nonprofits aren't taking real estate, because it needs to be sold to get the fund to fund their programs. It entitles the donor to a tax deduction against their adjusted gross income. Friends, this is one of the reasons why the first way doesn't work. Because that $1 million condo, if the guy is donating that, there's a $1 million write-off from his adjusted gross income. But if he goes and pays a lot of fees and expenses before he donates the proceeds, this is really, really chunked down. And in that example of a $1 million condo, the government is going to get at least $200,000 that the nonprofit world is not. If the asset is appreciated, then they avoid the capital gains tax. And it sounds simple enough. There are thousands, tens of thousands of property owners in this country that are already donating real estate, that are Googling and searching how to donate real estate. We'll show you that in a minute. And they simply want to help the nonprofits they love. So what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. Here are the reasons that the nonprofits won't do it. They have no expertise in real estate, nor a dedicated real estate team. Now, we're going to show you in just a minute that 0.0067% that does have a real estate team, but overall, they don't. You know, think about it. Meals on Wheels, Humane Society, Warrior Rising, all these wonderful nonprofits were created with a mission to help a certain demographic of the population, and there's nothing in their mission statement about real estate. They just don't know how to do it. And guess what? I just was asked to be on a board. I'm on a board of a friend of mine. She has a nonprofit. And even with me sitting on the board, that nonprofit still can't accept real estate because it costs money. Like in that example, if that person has $1 million condo and they want $300,000 cash before they'll be able to sign over the deed, just because I sit on the board doesn't mean I'm going to come up with $300,000 or take responsibility for that property and pay the insurance and the taxes and get the grass cut and all that stuff. So it's just risky and complicated. Real estate diverts their attention. It's what we call mission drift. So imagine if a nonprofit's mission is to provide guitars for veterans, for Veterans with Purple Hearts. We have Wade on here today who does that. If that's his mission, if he were to try to handle a piece of real estate in the middle of Texas that needs a mortgage payoff, etc., boy, would he get off of his mission. Do you know what else diverts nonprofits from their mission? Fundraising. When they take all that time to put together fundraising events, it pulls them away from what they were created to do. We are trying to help stop mission drift. Just get them funded. Now, here's another reason. They've heard of it. They've heard of real estate gifts, but they've had bad experiences. So there are lots of stories about bad experiences. And to be clear, we are not suggesting that any nonprofit start taking their own gifts of real estate. No, no, no. That would be the second way that donor can help the nonprofit, is if that nonprofit themselves are taking title and risk and responsibility. No, because then we're just creating more bad experiences. Now, some nonprofits will accept real estate on a limited basis. Like if it's local, if it's in their county, if it's mortgage-free, complete 100% equity, etc., then they will. And friends, if you have a nonprofit that accepts real estate under those tiny conditions in that little box of qualification, keep doing it. But what if there's a mortgage to be paid off? What if it's in another state? What if? We can help you with those. Now, the majority of these 99.9% of nonprofits have it written right in their bylaws. They've already whacked the gavel and said, nope, no non-cash assets, especially not real estate. And frankly, that's been really smart of them, because at least they haven't been having mission drift and getting all tangled up in that risk. Overall, the bottom line, the reason 99.9% are missing out on this funding is not just that it's too risky. The real reason is because they don't know about what you're learning today. They don't know about the win-win-win way. So we're back to that warning. You're getting ready to learn an easy, risk-free way, and it's our moral obligation to share it with people. So remember, I told you I was going to share with you some of the nonprofits that do take real estate. National Conservancy has been doing this for years. They are smart enough to have brought in, I think, 400 million just themselves. Now, I'm just going to pull all these logos up on the screen as I chat with you. And you might be thinking, well, Cami, if you guys handle donations of real estate, why in the world would you be showing me all these groups that handle donations of real estate? Because number one, I want you to see it is happening. I want you to know that your donors on your donor list, your clients on your client list, your friends and family and followers and funders are Googling tax deductions, how to donate real estate. And these are the ones that they're finding. And if a donor just wants a tax deduction, they can donate to any one of these. Now, I don't know if all of them will pay off mortgages, because that's a whole other set of criteria that, yes, we do handle in the third way. But the point is, if someone calls Cars for Kids, who now takes not only cars, but real estate, they can get their tax deduction. Here's the trick. They cannot dictate or say where the proceeds go. Cars for Kids, the Dave organization, the Giving Back Block, they are the nonprofit that's keeping the proceeds. Now, some of these might have a list of 6 or 8 or 10. Here's a veterans group. Here's an animals group. Here's a children's group, if you want to pick from our approved affiliates. Friends, the reason that the Real Agents of Change were created, the reason that you're here today, is because we want all nonprofits to be able to benefit from the proceeds of real estate. We want the donor on your donor list to give to your nonprofit. We want the real estate agents and financial advisors that we work with to get paid to help fund those nonprofits. We want to help you become proactive versus reactive. Because if that donor is out Googling and searching, the nonprofit can react to an email that comes in or a phone call. What we want to help you do is become proactive, not sit back and wait for someone to randomly offer real estate at your real estate office. We want to show you how to have them coming to you. So I want to share the history here of why this is so important and why charitable gifting of real estate that has been around for 100 years has not been leveraged or taken advantage of or taught in the marketplace until now. So this was my first headshot in real estate, my first real professional headshot. And there was a woman in my office. Now, keep in mind, you're looking at someone here who was newly sober, had just been sober actually for 6 months when I got a job in real estate as a listing coordinator for a realtor who sold about 125 houses a year. I was hired to work with this gentleman. I was prospecting expireds and for sale by owners and all that stuff, and putting together 15, 20 listing packets a week. So for my real estate friends, I want you to know I get it, been there, done that. So one of the women in the office saw my hunger, my tenacity, and one day she came in the office and she said, Cami, I've got this red suit that I've outgrown. I thought I'd see if you wanted to have it. It's a nice suit. So I put it on. It fit like a glove. It was Jones' suit. I loved it. I didn't have a suit. She could see that I was hungry, but I needed a little help with my image. I wore that suit almost every day. I was going on a lot of listing appointments when I got my own license as a real estate agent. And that suit helped me to bring in closings. It helped me to upgrade my car. It helped me to go into my own office with a door that's shut and a window and the whole thing. And about 6 months after she gave me that suit, she came in my office one day and she said, Cami, I need to come clean with you about something. And she said, you know that red suit I gave you? And I said, of course, Joan, I love that suit. She said, I just want you to know I didn't outgrow it. I actually bought it for you because I knew you needed one. Now, mind you, I had gone from being not very confident, not really knowing what I was doing, to now got this red suit. I've had some closings. I'm holding my head a little bit higher and upgrading everything. So she knew I had grown. She said, not only did I buy the suit, I got it from the Salvation Army off of the sales rack for $3. And we hugged and we laughed and we cried. And she was so smart. If she had told me that when she gave me the suit, I would have been humiliated. But here it was 6 months later, and I had grown, and I could see the wisdom and what she had done. And I wore that suit, my friends, for years. And if I had known I would be doing what I'm doing now, I would have kept it, and I would still wear it on stages. It's that little tweak of image that she helped me with that we're helping you with today. Not that you need help tweaking your image, but just to give you that little extra something that other agents don't have, the knowledge of what we're doing here. Now, that same day, I took a picture with my daughter at that professional photo shoot, and I shared these photos with you because I was a single mother when I got my real estate license. I wanted to be able to go to my daughter's field trips, which is what that last image is. I wanted to be the mother that was there on the field trips. I used to drive my Mustang that you're going to see in a minute behind the bus, following into Boston, down to, the aquarium and all that stuff. I wanted to get her involved with me in the community. So Remax was the first company I was with. You're going to see a lot of pictures of Remax. It's not the only one. I was with just about every major brand. But we used to bring the hot air balloon to events. This one was at the Boys and Girls Club. And we were doing guerrilla marketing. We just wanted to get out and be seen and be heard. We were wanting to help people and sell more real estate. And I ended up getting invited to do a TV show called The Real Estate Roadshow with Century 21 in New England. And I did HGTV House Hunters. So I actually auditioned for a show called My House is Worth What. I sent in a good old-fashioned videotape way back when you'd have to take the video and put it in an envelope and mail it to the production team. Like, that's how long ago it was. But from that show, House Hunters actually called me and asked me to do an episode. So we did the House Hunters. And this is the car that I talk about all the time, 64.5 Mustang convertible. The very first big commission check that I got, I bought my dream car. And people used to make fun of me. Ford, found on road dead. Don't you know what a money pit that is? But I had vision, and I knew that people from 6 years old to 60 would think that car was full. And boy, did they. I could not get in that car to go so much as to the store without somebody pulling up and asking me what year it was and tell me how cool it was. So this car, the reason I'm sharing all this with you is because at the very first car show, we had 50 cars all trying to give us $20. That's $1,000, and we weren't taking it. And my assistant said, why aren't we taking their money? And I said, because we're not doing the show to raise a few $100. We're doing it to promote ourselves. But it got me thinking. There's a lot of nonprofits that need $1,000. So I found a place called the Live and Let Live Farm, and we started donating to them. And we donated to firefighters and kids with cancer and all kinds of things. And I learned that social responsibility is not just the right thing to do, it's a necessary thing to do in business. People want to know what you're doing in the community. So I started teaching others how to do it. This is a diaper drive. The woman in the tan jacket is the president of the board of realtors in that state. She hired me as her personal consultant to teach her how to do social responsibility. We raised 8,000 diapers for a halfway home there. This is the woman in the red sweater she was my Botox doctor. She hired me to do social responsibility for her doctor's office. This is Jacksonville RIA, the Real Estate Investor Group. They wanted me to come down and do a speaking engagement for 400 of their members. And I said, only if you'll do something to help the community. I cannot show up without social responsibility going on. So we did a coat drive. Those were all the coats on the back, and me with my book. And what happened was I was helping businesses to help the communities and the causes they cared about. Maria loved Habitat for Humanity. Realtors for Recovery was created for addiction. We raised up coats in the Boston community. We helped animal groups. We did poker runs for veterans and addiction. We did this thing here with another group for veterans. My point is that there's dozens of these flyers for all these people that we were helping that I actually started saving towards the end. And all of this leads to, I had that knowledge about real estate, and I had that knowledge about nonprofit. And when I learned about charitable real estate, I knew it needed to be leveraged. I knew people like you would want to know about this. I knew that the realtors needed a unique sales proposition, and that instead of giving 10% of their commission, they could get paid to help the nonprofits they love. And so this is what's transpired from all that exposure and research and years of growing. That's how we got to where we are today. So it's all the real estate experience, networking, nonprofit, social responsibility. That's why we have a win-win-win. And I can't wait for section 2 to share with you about the third way. Now, this is an example. You'll hear us say the average donation is $550,000. Actually, we've now been corrected. It's $600,000. But that's the equity. This is a listing price of a property, as you can see, from January 2021. This money went to the Martin Luther King Group. This is Michael DeShavi. I love, love, love him. I am the real agent of change, number 1. He's number 2. Known this man for 15 years. I used to coach him in real estate. We were in several businesses together. The minute I learned about this, he was the first person that I called. And he's part of what we're doing today. So, friends, I just want to open it up right now. I'm going to look through the chat. Alan, please tell me if there's any specific question that I need to address. And I want to invite you to turn your camera on, to unmute yourself, to introduce yourself and tell me what brings you here.
Well, I guess it's silence, so I should fill it. Hello, Jamie. I met you and Alan here a couple months ago, and then just talked to Alan again yesterday. I'm executive director of Florida nonprofit, although we work nationwide and worldwide with folks with disabilities. I'm quadriplegic disabled man myself, and have been designing and providing solutions for 18 years to the VAs for vets coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And basically we work on empowering people of all ages, because age or elderly folks going into nursing homes is nothing but disability on a different time continuum. That's one of the big things we're addressing now. But we have done recently, we accepted a small little piece of real estate we had to pay off a little piece of it for them and cover some of their expenses. I recognize the value, and I think the greatest thing I'm looking to learn is how do we effectively market to and actually that piece of real estate came as just from a realtor I talked to 6 months ago. She remembered us, and when she talked to somebody, said, hey, you know what, you should talk to this nonprofit. So it was just a referral. She didn't get involved. I've kind of told, as I told you and Alan, I mentioned to different real estate agents, hey, we'll work with you, we'll make sure you get your commission, but they just don't get it. Like, that just sounds weird or funny. So I'm looking to learn how to market to real estate agents as well as how to market to prospective donors and then refer them to the proper agents. Thank you.
You got it. You got it, Mark. Thank you for saying who you are, friends. Please raise your hand because Mr. Whiskey is doing something for veterans. And Terry has created Legacy Resources Foundation to fund all kinds of nonprofits. There is so much synergy and alignment in here. You guys want to make it a 30-second introduction just so we can power through. But Mark, let me just say, when we invite all of you to become
Recorded.
we love you, we want to give you all you need to make a decision. But when a nonprofit like yours is simply showing up and saying, hey, let's play. I'm ready to position, partner, promote.
Technical difficulty, so please stand by.
This meeting is being recorded.
So that's we're looking at the same thing as don't.
This meeting is being recorded.
We're thrilled to have you here. Terry actually invited Wade to come see what we're up to. Introduce yourself. And friends, it's free to just tell people. So you do not have to have some big email campaign. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars scrubbing lists and whatever. You just tell people.
No out-of-pocket expense to handle the transactions.
The capital that's available. So in this third way, the win-win-win way, there is capital available to enhance the value of the property. Whether it is property that is currently zoned as commercial, and when it's rezoned, goes from $300,000 to a $700,000 value, which is one of the stories, or whether it is a property that needs a roof or that just needs to have holding costs while it's being sold. There's plenty of capital for that. Bargain sale. You're going to learn exactly what that means, but ultimately, if a piece of property is free and clear, that's a donation. If a property needs any money exchanged with the donor, it's called a bargain sale. Whether a mortgage needs to be paid off, whether they want cash, for any reason, if $1 exchanges hands, it's called a bargain sale, and you'll understand that. The donor, with this third way, this win-win-win way, the donor receives the full array of tax benefits immediately without your nonprofit having to figure it out. The nonprofit world receives the maximum donation, and 100% of the 1.5 million nonprofits are eligible for this. So remember all those nonprofits that we brought up, Cars for Kids and all of those, less than 0.0067% can do this themselves. And by the way, that number is actually growing. It's probably more like 0.1% now, because nonprofits are getting smarter. They're starting to figure this out, and your donors are on their lists. So this third way, the win-win-win way, is what you're here to learn about today, and that's what we're getting into right now. So let's talk about the stakeholders in a donation of real estate. There are the donors, whether it's a private individual or a corporation. And we have a book called Giving USA, which is the giving Bible of the country. It's been out for 50, 60 years. And actually, 70% of all giving comes from people, not corporations. Advisors are a stakeholder. And when we say advisors, just think to yourself, people who advise others who own real estate. What professions advise people who own real estate? Attorneys, CPAs, realtors, financial advisors, insurance brokers, wealth advisors, real estate advisors, and the nonprofits themselves. So it looks like this. I call it the triangle of trust, because it takes all three players to make it happen. Now, the donors are a yes. The donors want to donate. Friends, I hear language like, how do I sell people on this? How do I convince people? First thing we need to do is get rid of that language. I mean, think about it. Think about it. How in the world could you possibly convince someone to give $1 million condo? You can't. You can educate and inform of what their options are, and they make a decision for themselves. You can share with them what your nonprofit would do with that kind of money and inspire them to want to give generously, but you can't sell them on it. Now, advisors are a yes. 65% of these donations come from financial advisors. You'll learn about why that is in a minute. But obviously the advisors are a yes. The real estate agent gets paid a full commission. Financial advisor can make money from more fees. We'll talk about that. But they're a yes. They want to participate in this. Believe it or not,
It's the nonprofits that are the no. For all the reasons that we've already talked about. It is the complexity and the risk and the lack of money and the lack of expertise and the bad stories, all of these reasons that they are a no. And friends, they should be a no if they're trying to do it themselves. So we are not even suggesting that the nonprofits who have gift acceptance policies that say no to real estate, we're not even saying that they change that. We are simply giving them a way that they can talk to their donors about gifts of real estate from a place of being confident, knowing that they don't have to handle it themselves. So when we talk to nonprofits, they'll say things like, well, you know, we did take real estate one time and we'll never do it again. Huh, what a nightmare that was. Or they say things like, well, we do accept real estate if it's local and it's mortgage free, and if our board can take 6 months to figure it out. And of course, if it doesn't involve any cash. We know a lot of community foundations who say that they will take real estate, but we know the nonprofit that is helping them with those gifts of real estate, and we know that nonprofit, the one that we know so well, won't do a bargain sale. They won't pay off mortgages. So we know that there's a handful that will do this on a very limited basis. And what we're saying is, what if we could simply help all nonprofits to benefit from the proceeds without the risk? So our team of experts at the Real Agents of Change include specialized nonprofits whose mission is to accept real estate of any kind, from anywhere, taking on all financial responsibility, all environmental risks. In other words, they take the hard asset, they convert it into cash, and they simply grant the proceeds to the nonprofit that the donor wants to have. So people ask a lot, well, you got this piece of real estate. Who decides who gets the money? Well, if I had a $100 bill, who's going to decide what charity gets that $100 bill? Me, my $100 bill. Somebody has the deed and keys to a piece of property. Guess who gets to decide who gets the money? The person with the keys and the deed. So the donors are going to decide who gets the money. So please be clear. This isn't about writing grants. This isn't about learning how to write a grant. The money is granted to your nonprofit because the donor said so. So the specialized nonprofit, let's talk about what exactly are they doing. They are exclusively accepting gifts of real estate. So if the Humane Society's mission statement is to save 1,000 animals a year, and if the Underground Railroad's mission is to stop human trafficking, all nonprofits have a mission. And this nonprofit's mission, from the moment they get up in the morning to the moment they lay their head down at night, is to accept gifts of real estate on behalf of any nonprofit. They provide the donors the tax benefits. They do all of that paperwork that we would all find so confusing. They absorb the title and financial risk inherent in all real estate gifts. Sometimes the question comes up, what if the property doesn't sell? What if the property is contaminated and we didn't know it? What if the property doesn't sell for as much as they thought it would? Friends, first of all, a specialized nonprofit is so savvy and sophisticated, and all of them have been in commercial real estate and philanthropy long enough to know if a property is a good bet. Second of all,
If they make the wrong choice, that's their problem. Your nonprofit is not on the hook for any of that stuff. You have nothing to do with it. They are the ones, and all you're ever going to do is accept a grant of the money. They work with the brokerage community to sell the real estate. Now, this is important because all these guys with the specialized nonprofit that we'll continue to talk about today, they're all realtors. They're all commercial realtors, but they have zero interest in listing a property in New York or Washington State or Florida or California. They know that a local realtor needs to list that property, and they pay them a full commission to do it. They grant the money to the other nonprofits, and this is what it looks like. Notice how in this triangle of trust, the specialized nonprofit steps in on behalf of the other nonprofits. Now, here are some quotes and some stats from experts who have been doing this for many years. Endowments grow at 6 times the rate of a nonprofit that only accepts cash. This is Dr. Russell James. He wrote the foreword for our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. And he has been quoted about nonprofits who only accept cash are doing the biggest disservice to those that they serve when there's so much money in real estate. Now, donors can give 3 to 7 times more when they start giving from their non-cash buckets. We've got a story of a woman who gave her real estate. She was given $25 a year for 32 years. She heard one of the team talking about this 2 years ago. Lo and behold, she had a property. She donated the property. It was a second home. It was a cabin in the Poconos. And the fundraiser person at that nonprofit told me that that woman, Linda, who was giving $25 a year for 32 years, now, in the last couple of years, she's given them $500 a year. There's a psychological change that happens for people, and when they can give from their non-cash assets. So, nonprofits, where do you find the donors? They're in your donor list. And that picture that we show of Hallie standing on the side holding the sign out in front of the house, she said one of the things she loved about this the most was that they didn't have to go find a unicorn. They didn't have to go find this fictitious property donor. In their 1,500 donor list, they're just shifting from cash requests to real estate. Now, Jackie Franey is with the Nature Conservancy. That's one of those logos I showed you earlier. The Nature Conservancy has been taking gifts of real estate for years. No additional donors are needed. That's what I just said. So this is from this gentleman at the University of Oregon. It is an awakening that's happening, and we want to help you to step into it. So here's the collaboration. We have the same.
And see what is going on today.
This meeting is being recorded.
You're out promoting your cause. You're out promoting your events. You're creating that emotional connection. So you're spending all your time and talent that other people don't have, and with the little bit of emotional pull,
they give you their treasure. So instead of the 3% cash, we're saying, how about that 43% of real estate? All you have to do is share. Hey, donor, thanks for that $25 a year you give. Just want you to know we can benefit from gifts of real estate. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I got a team that does. So you can start asking for these gifts, not so that you accept them, but so that you benefit from them. Now, what does the specialized nonprofit do best? They accept the real estate, they fix it, they sell it, and they grant you the money. They intervene, just like the Triangle of Trust shows. They provide the resources, solve the complexity of the entire gift cycle. If we had time, I'd show you video after video of real estate transactions that they doubled and tripled the value of the property because they knew what they were doing. They grant the bulk of the proceeds to you. Now, The Rock, us, the real agents of change. What do we do? Friends, the specialized nonprofit that you're going to meet, that we encourage you to build relationship with, they handle the transaction. But in order to get to the transaction, you got to bring the donation to the table. And that's where we come in. We're helping with the systems and the scripts and the support, the social media and the strategy. Every one of you are here or watching this video because you've seen some of our marketing, whether it was one of us inviting you personally or something on social media or one of our tribe reaching out to you. It all happened because of our strategy to get out and be seen and be heard. We bring the deals. The specialized nonprofit handles the transaction. Now, these are examples of nonprofits that have benefited from the third way. None of these, and the next slide I'm going to show you, none of them took the real estate themselves. Now, there might be like Boys and Girls Club, right? There's one here in Sarasota. They actually were gifted a golf course 10 years or so ago, and they've been living off the proceeds of that for many years. But they are the example of, we'll never do that again. Boy, did that take them off mission. But the point is, all of these have worked with the same team that we do. And I want to point out Fidelity Charitables for the credibility piece of this. Friends, we're going to share with you documents for you to do your due diligence. We want you to understand who you're getting in bed with. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to know Fidelity Charitables, there's the tax deduction they needed in that year. And then it was put on the market with a real estate agent. It closed in April this year for $406,000. That should be April 2022. I gotta fix that. So that's how much came in. But what happened was this nonprofit was told
in December, January, hey, these lots have been donated on your behalf. We don't know exactly how much you're going to get, but just want you to know this is what it looks like. Like, this is what the guy donated. The nonprofit, friends, where do you find these donations? Cami, who do we talk to? How do we find the donations? That nonprofit reached out to their donor list and they said, oh my God, I don't know how this works, but this donor has donated this land. And when it sells, we're going to get a few $100,000. We have no idea how this works, but we've been told to just let you all know, if you got real estate, raise your hand. Donation number 2. A woman from their donor list said, well, my mom left me a property in Carmel, California. It's a 55 and older community. I will never live there. You can have it. It closed last week. That same nonprofit got a check, a few pennies and cents at the end. That's the round number. So, moral of the story, 2 donations, 6 months, $1,052,000. Where did the donations come from? From the people that already love you, from the people that already support you, from the people that are Googling and finding cars for kids because they don't think that you do. So, here's why the specialized nonprofits were created. Because real estate is really underperforming, meaning 3%, that little pie square needs to be a tiny little sliver. 3% of what we have as a nation is in cash. 54% is other, 43% is real estate. Yet, 90% of what nonprofits are bringing in is coming from the cash. And only 2% is coming from real estate. Now, that's actually $9 billion, which is nothing to sneeze at. But that $9 billion is coming from one painful search by a donor Googling how do I donate real estate? Who will give me a tax deduction? How can I do this? It's from financial advisors, a small little handful that know how this works. That's where that $9 billion is coming from. So here's the opportunity. At $9 billion, experts say, all those experts, Jackie Franey and Dr. Russell James and Cami C. Baker and Bruce Geis at the Real to Give Fund are all saying the 2% can easily go to 6.5%, which is $29 billion a year, $20 billion more, because we are becoming proactive versus reactive. When people say to us, well, I've never had anybody offer real estate. If I ever do, I'll give you a call. They're missing the boat. They are waiting to react if someone ever randomly calls them. And we're saying, you've already got events going on. Put it on your flyer. Put it on your website. Do a Facebook Live together. Sam Silver can do a Facebook Live with Wade or Mark or any of these other great people. And people learn about it, and they see all of us doing it together. Every one of these donations, my friends, needs a realtor to list it to get the cash to give to the nonprofit world. Now, April last year, Specialized Nonprofit and I were invited to come to Puerto Rico to meet with some leaders from a big real estate company. We sat on a beautiful veranda for 5-6 hours one morning and explained it to the granddaddy of EXP.
Cami, as you explained to me through your program, baby boomers just like me can donate in a way we didn't know how. This is a game changer. This is the kind of credibility and experts that are getting behind what we're doing. Okay, so benefits to the donors. Because you're thinking, okay, well, I can see what exactly, why would people give real estate away? Here you go. Some of these you've already heard, so we're going to bank them pretty quick. They're avoiding capital gains tax on what they donate. They qualify for the full appraised value minus any cash they get back, obviously, as the basis for their tax deduction. Here's a few other things to consider, because when we are trying to think from the mindset of someone who is generously giving a $7 million piece of property, we have to take a step back and think about what would it be like to be in their shoes. So cash is what we use to go to the movie, go out and eat, buy our kids Christmas presents. When we are asking a donor to give from the cash in their pocket, and we've all been there. We've all been there. Somebody wants us to donate. Somebody wants us to buy raffle tickets or go to a golf tournament. And in our own minds, we think, well, I can do that, or I can do this thing in my lifestyle. I can get my kids Christmas presents. In other words, that's what you're competing with. Now, this also helps the donor to eliminate a complex asset from their estate. Think about it. 55, 60, 65, 70 years old, have acquired multiple properties, coming to the end of life. They are thinking, what am I going to do? Little Billy and little Mary do not know what to do with a strip mall in Wisconsin. What am I going to do with this stuff? This simplifies how they're handling their estate. It also simplifies the transfer to the next generation. We're going to talk in a minute about donor advised funds and how the parents that are liquidating these assets and putting it in a donor advised fund that they can leave to the children is one of the ways to simplify. They can experience the convenience. Believe it or not, this is the number one reason that a lot of folks do this. So the story I alluded to earlier, Linda, National Jewish Health. Linda's been given $25 a year for 32 years. She learned she could donate real estate. Nobody would have picked her out of the 300,000 donors to be the one to donate real estate, but she did. And when I talked to the fundraiser, that nonprofit, specifically about this lady, she said the cabin was in
Let's go to StreamYard. Let's do this. That way. Camper. This again.
66 that's boarded up. This is not about how can we find property that others want to unload or get rid of because it's contaminated or landlocked or they can't sell it. Friends, this is about simply letting other human beings know that donations of real estate are happening and that they don't have to go Google and find another nonprofit that will take real estate. You just let them know, hey, you're going to be hearing about this. You're going to see it on Facebook and LinkedIn. You're going to hear about it at Christmas parties. And I just want you to know, you don't have to go there to get a tax deduction. You can help our veterans. You can help our women that are coming out of domestic abuse. You can help us. So happy to answer any questions. Just looking over. Jeff, you got me. I'm in. Sure would love to help targeting and promoting to my base. Got it. Well, easy enough to do that, you know. So we're going to tell you, we got one more section that's really, really, really important. It's about what qualifies as a donation. It's about what are the documents that you need and some more like details like that. And then we're going to ask you, do you want to just be a specialist or do you want to be a champion with us? And the only difference is specialist, you get certified, you're on the map. Alan will tell you about that in a little bit. But with champion, we provide to you some actual marketing pieces and landing page, therock.com/Jeff Weaver, etc. Okay, so we'll talk about that at the end. Any questions about the process or anything that I've said that might have confused you?
Very impressive.
Thank you, Bo. We certainly hope that your network of people will want to bring this to their tribe. Every marketplace, there's an average of 499 nonprofits per county in this country. And every one of them need funding. We're here in Florida because 10% of all nonprofits and 10% of all realtors right here in Florida. So we're actually creating this as a CE, 3-hour credit for realtors. But we don't want people that are coming to get credit. We want people to come to help other people. So Alan, are there any questions in there I need to address? I do see what Bo said about much like a 1031 exchange. Yes and no. Let me just address that real quick. It is like a 1031 from the perspective that they are avoiding capital gains tax. But it's better than a 1031 from the perspective that you don't have all this, 6 months to identify another property and just all the hand-wringing of, oh my God, what if I don't find a property? And what if it doesn't work out? In other words, when this property is donated to a specialized nonprofit, within 30 days, they have mortgages paid off, they have cash in their pocket if that's what they want, and they get their tax deduction, including avoiding capital gains tax. Within 30 days, they're done. Now, that does mean that they're donating tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. So it's not just for someone who wants to avoid capital gains, for someone who has philanthropic intention. But that's just the difference. It's not nearly the headache of a 1031.
What I was meaning, it was kind of like going from a, when you sell your property in 1031, you go put it with a 1031 company, and kind of like what I see the specialized nonprofit doing.
That's true. All right, I'm going to give everybody just a 5-minute bio break. We're going to come back. We're banging through this pretty quick for you today. We'll be done in probably another 30 minutes or so. We'll be done. And I'm happy to answer questions after that. So I'll see you guys at 1:03. Be right back. Feel free to engage with each other.
Terry and Mr. Whiskey, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I don't know if you saw me in the chat. I said, we were talking about veterans and stuff. You're in Tampa. I was suggesting we should figure out how to do an event and get some veterans jamming on flybridge of possibilities at Sunset or something on Charlotte Harbor or Tampa Bay.
Oh, I love that. How many people can your boat hold?
Depends on the nature of the event. That's more of a limitation of Coast Guard. Anywhere from 6 to probably 30.
6:30. Okay. Right on. We used to do up until COVID. We used to do the honors cruise out of Clearwater on Starlight, and we rented out the whole boat, and we filled it with almost 300 people. Yeah, that's our president.